So there's a big update in the William McNeil case. If y'all didn't see, this was big viral news. Cell phone footage from a traffic stop in Jacksonville a few weeks back, a month ago or so. He was pulled over at 4:15 by sheriff's or Officer Bowers, part of the sheriff's department, I believe, and he said he didn't have his lights on. It was daylight out. He said inclement weather because it was raining. I don't know. It didn't really look like it was raining to me in the footage. Everyone comments your thoughts. But he ended up locking himself in the car and asking for his supervisor, saying that he felt threatened, and they socked him out, punched him right in the face. Before we carry on with the update, here's an interview from him and his attorney speaking on the situation.
We're joined now by William McNeil and his attorney, Harry Daniels. We thank you both so much for joining us tonight. William, let's start with you. Walk us through what happened and what led you to turn your camera on and start filming on your phone.
Well, the officer put his hand on his gun and out for me, so I closed my door and started recording. I did what was best. Yeah, so on.
They said your headlights were not on and should have been on in what they described as inclement weather, correct?
Yeah.
But there are those people who would say, hey, why not just cooperate when they're pulling you over? Why lock yourself inside the car and refuse to get out initially?
That's why I felt safe at. I wasn't going to get out the car because my hand was in the daytime. And then you put your hand on your gun and reach out for me. I fear for my life. And I know how officers of JSO are towards black men here in Jacksonville.
What went through your mind at that moment when the deputy broke your window and punches you in the face as you sit in the car?
I was surprised. I was scared, frightened. I grew up being told that officers protect us, but that wasn't the case.
How did you feel when you heard the sheriff say that the state's attorney's office found no criminality in the deputy's actions?
I haven't been listening to the sheriff.
Mr. Daniels, your reaction?
My reaction to no criminality is it's not shocking, not surprising by JSO. As we can put it, JSO has a history of brutality against African American males. We have represented multiple people against JSO, and it always starts some type of pretext or stop, like a seatbelt infraction, which is a civil violation, $15 fine, and in some cases leading to young men have been killed. Some have been savagely beaten. So I echo what William was saying. He was afraid of JSO. JSO has a brutal history of treating young African Americans very harsh and using unlawful use of force. To the prosecuting officer not bringing criminal charges is ridiculous.
And Mr. Daniels, you have said that you plan to file a lawsuit. When do you expect to take legal action, and what do you hope to see ultimately as the outcome?
Well, we are in the process of taking legal action, not just taking legal action in a civil matter. We also seek redress from the Department of Justice. I know that may be shocking to some due to the current administration, but nevertheless, we're going to move formally request the Department of Justice to come in this particular matter, and we'll see what happens.
William, you said earlier today that growing up as a black man, you learned not to fight officers on the streets, but to fight in court. What kind of outcome are you hoping to see ultimately from a lawsuit?
The outcome that we all hoping to see, justice. Justice for all black men, across America, across the world. It happens not just here, but everywhere. I'm not the only person this done happened to. It's far worse has happened.
What would justice look like for you?
Fighting for what's right, better training of our officers, and better officers.
Has this impacted your outlook on police? Has it impacted you emotionally?
Emotionally, I have mixed emotions. I'm terrified of police currently. Anytime I see a cop, I really just don't want to be around them. Sometimes I get angry when I see a cop, but I don't let that affect me daily. I don't drive anymore. And that's pretty much it. I barely can sleep. That is another thing. only get like 2 hours of sleep a night. I have flashbacks and nightmares, you know.
William McNeil, Harry Daniels, we thank you both so much for your time. Really appreciate you joining us tonight.
All right, so you heard what they were saying. Individuals have been pulled over and killed over $15 seatbelt tickets. And in this situation, it seems like total bullshit to me, the whole headlight thing. I gotta say, it's light out, like the inclement weather. I don't know. It seemed to me that they just kind of wanted to mess with this man. And I plan on in another video, tapping into the whole traffic stop and checking it all out. If you guys want to check that out with me, subscribe to the channel, hit the comments. Always want to hear from all the people out there. But the big update here, what we're talking about now, is that there will be no charges officially. The investigation's done. It's a wrap. No officers will be charged. The civil suit obviously can still go through. As you heard McNeil, he's traumatized. He can't sleep. And he wants justice, him and his attorney, not just for McNeil, for other individuals that this has happened to in Jacksonville. And in this update, his attorney is saying, listen, this doesn't shock me one bit. 3 weeks before this official investigation was done, the sheriff in a press conference had stated that there was no criminality. You heard them talking about that in the interview, that the sheriff, the head of the department, was saying there was no criminality. And it was like he was saying the DA or prosecutors, whatever, what have you, had already stated to him that there was no criminal offenses committed by the officers prior to a full investigation happening. So they're like, what do you expect? We saw this coming. Now, there's a lot of content on YouTube of people auditing the police and such. And, from my understanding, if you ask for a supervisor, and we're just talking protocol here, right? And everyone comments your opinion. From my understanding, doesn't the call from the supervisor have to be put in to follow protocol? And as far as everything else, right? How is punching someone in the face justified, right? Like, and when I'm saying this, I'm saying even if they say side with law enforcement, like, hey, this guy locking himself in the car was unlawful or whatever the case was, right? And they had to break in like that, right? If that is considered within the boundaries of the law, why didn't they just break the window and cuff him? He had his hands up. He clearly wasn't toting a weapon or anything like that. So I just don't understand how that is within the realms of not being excessive. Like, okay, you had to break the car window. If that is legal or not or whatever, then why not just put the man under arrest? Where do they just start teeing off on him like that? I don't know. You know what I mean? It's a crazy situation. Like I said, I want to do another video where I review the footage. So again, comment your thoughts about the whole situation. Comment if you want to see that video. I may just do it live so we can tap into it and what your thoughts are across the board on this situation. But like I said, you heard, what it is. No charges will be filed. And, like the attorney said, hey, the sheriff pretty much said this, that he already talked to, I believe it was the state's attorney or state prosecutors or whatever. But when the news inquired, they said, well, the full investigation isn't over yet. But you see, that result is exactly what the sheriff had said at that point in time. And he referenced the state attorney or prosecutors or whoever it was, like, which was kind of wild. You know what I mean? Like, even if behind the scenes, which I don't think shocks anyone, that the prosecutors would be like, oh, listen, we got you guys on this. Don't worry about it. For them to go into a press conference and be like, yeah, state's attorney already told us that, that's kind of like, exposing it. Like, hey, before there's even investigation, there's already been an investigation. And that's it. Nothing. End of story. But as we stated, there is still an ongoing civil situation that could take Lord knows how long. Will they settle? I'm not sure exactly what he's asking for in his lawsuit, but stay tuned for updates. Let's talk about it all below. Newcomers to the channel, please subscribe, hit the buttons, join the discussion on the topic. As always, this is J Coffee Talk, where we talk it up on news, sports, current events, music, movies, all kinds of stuff. So tap in.